Good morning, Year 7. I hope you had a nice weekend. Today we're going to be looking again at the riverbank, going a bit further in the story and doing a bit of descriptive writing ourselves. So you're going to need a pen, your exercise book, and a copy of The Wind in the Willows if you have one. You can still complete the lesson if you don't have a copy of The Wind in the Willows though. So there you are. So if you haven't got those things, go and get them. Then come back and write the title into your books, underline it neatly and so on, and then go on to the next slide. Okay, for the do now, I want you to get a dictionary, or of course, if you don't have a dictionary, you can look them up online. And I want you to write the definitions of these words that you find. But I want you to write it in your own words. Don't just simply copy out what's written there. Write it in your own words so that you really understand what they mean. So a little bit of a recap over what we've done. We've read up to page 4. So who's the character we've just met? What is he like? What was he doing at the start of the book? What does he make of the river? Why might he be so bewitched, entranced and fascinated? So the character we've just met is Mole. What he's like, he's very excitable and excited. He was doing spring cleaning at the start of the book. He's absolutely fascinated by the river. And he's bewitched, entranced and fascinated because he's never seen a river before. To him, it looks like a thing that's alive. Now here we are. Here's a piece of description of the river. Now you're going to be doing a piece of descriptive writing at the end of this lesson, so pay attention about how this is done, and we'll go over it in a bit more detail in a minute. But here it is. He thought his happiness was complete when, as he meandered aimlessly along, suddenly he stopped by the edge of a full-fed river. Never in his life had he seen a river before, this sleek, sinuous, full-bodied animal, chasing and chuckling, gripping things with a gurgle and leaving them with a laugh, to fling itself on fresh playmates that shook themselves free and were caught and held again. All was a shake and a shiver, glints and gleams and sparkles, rustles and swirl, chatter and bubble. The Mole was bewitched, entranced, fascinated. By the side of the river he trotted as one trots when very small, by the side of a man who holds one spellbound by exciting stories, and when tired at last he sat on the bank, while the river still chattered on to him, a babbling procession of the best stories in the world, sent from the heart of the earth to be told at last to the insatiable sea. Now I just want you to find one language device and one structure device used by the writer. I've listed the structure and language devices below there. So I want you to find one and write it into your books, one language and one structure. Now that description that we just read, it's key that we know that we think about what effect that has on the reader. Now what effect do you think it has on the reader? Does it make the reader feel that Mole is happy to be next to the river, or is he unhappy, and so on? So I want you to have a think about that and just write 2 sentences in response to that question. What effect does the description of the riverbank have on us as readers? Now I want you to read up to page 10, to the bit where it ends, so he dropped the subject. Say one thing about Rat's character and one thing about Mole's fascination with the river. Just one thing. Don't spend more than 5 minutes on that. Obviously, you've got to do the reading. If you haven't got the book, then don't worry about it. Now, when you come to your GCSE, which I know is many years away, but we need to start, perhaps getting our minds focused on it, you'll be required to either do, or one of the things you'll be required to do will either to be write a descriptive piece or a narrative piece. A narrative piece is simply writing a story. A descriptive piece is exactly that, just describing something. As if, imagine doing a painting with words. It's actually quite hard to do because we tend to want to break out and tell a story. But nevertheless, we're going to practice the descriptive side of things today. Now you can see the bit that we've already read out there, the description. We've talked about how language and structure can be used to create effects on the reader. Now I want you to describe a place you've been to. Use description to show how it made you feel. Could have been the seaside, could have been the grass in a meadow, could have been a view from the top of a mountain or the top of a hill, but it's just a description. Don't tell a story, just a description. And I want you to write 1/3 of a page. So to be realistic, that's I want you to write 10 lines. Okay, you can write more if you want, but 10 lines minimum, but it has to be just a description. And here's a little checklist of things. You don't need to include them all, of course, but cast your eyes over it, have a look at it, and you know, decide which of, you know, you want at least 4 of those in your writing. Anyway, off you go. Enjoy that. Upload it to Class Charts, and I'll have a look at it. As I've already said on the previous slide, excuse me, Year 7, upload your work to Class Charts, and I'll give you feedback on it, individual feedback on Class Charts. So well done, Year 7. I'll see you next time.